Okay, guys, let's do this. Good afternoon. I've had a fair amount of abuse here in the last 20 minutes or so from writers who are pretending they're not looking forward to this. Chase, put that down. For fuck's sake. Okay. Sorry, my wife told me I'm not allowed to swear too much. Shit. Hello, I'm Mervyn. I'm the festival director of Open Books. So I've got nobody to blame for the fact that I'm sitting here by myself.
Can we go now?
Feeling a bit uncomfortable, but okay, I'll deal with that. I've got a psychologist on stage, so yeah, I'll be fine. Onke, can we talk, please? Before we start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to irritate the sound people by actually stepping away from the mic, and I need to do this because I just want to do a very quick advertisement / sort of fashion show. Yeah. Just going to show everybody this amazing show.
What are we looking at? What are we looking at?
So if anybody wants some personally hand-painted merch, that's the word I was looking for, get hold of me afterwards and I'll put you in touch.
If you sign it.
What?
If you sign it.
I'll sign it. I'll sign anything. You know me. I'll sign all sorts of books for people. I haven't written them. Yeah. You want a signed copy of this? People come into the book lounge all the time. I'm going, yeah, absolutely. No problem. Oh, shit. You wanted the author to sign? I'm sorry. Did you say that? No. Okay. Firstly, one change to the lineup today. Mohale Mashego is unfortunately not well. And the wonderful Pie-Pacifique Kabalira-Uwase did not understand. We asked Pete this afternoon if he would like to step in, and he said sure, and then rocked up here and said what is this? And then all the other writers did that as well. Anyway, I'm just going to briefly introduce everybody on stage and then explain in a few very short sentences what we're going to do. But the success there's no or. This is going to be a success. The success of this event is largely dependent on you wonderful people in the audience. So step up your game. Okay. So we're going to start with, I have partially introduced him. Pie-Pacifique Kabalira-Uwase has been with us for the last couple of days talking about his incredible book, Witnessing, from the Rwandan tragedy to healing in South Africa. It's been wonderful to have him with us. As of this afternoon, he is also now known as The Replacement. Killing Caroline, Mad Bad Love, Sara-Jayne. She used to have just one surname. She now has two names after her name. The story of that is as beautiful as is her writing. Sara-Jayne Makwala King.
Help me. Is that fine?
I present to you the friendship series. All like 4 of them came in with like 2 minutes of each other. Then she writes a book with 3 other people. Qarnita, the James Patterson of South African writing. Loxton. Just to clarify, the James Patterson thing is about quantity, not quality. She's a hell of a lot better writer than James Patterson. And the books that have a name on her are actually written by her. So there's actually no comparison to me.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'm a bitch. Onke on the far right, Onke, who's making his debut at Open Book, who just said yes to everything we asked him to do because he's never been here before and is now wondering why the hell he did that. Author of the wonderful second verse, Mr. Mazibuko. Margie has always been known and projected as the queen of South African crime writing. She now lives in the UK, so we don't really know what to call her. We're just going with Queen at the moment. Margie, the Queen, Orford. Chase brought us Guinness. It was a book, it was a play, it was bubblegum, it was all sorts of different things. We now have Misfit. Chase is putting the fit back into Misfit every day of his life, every day of their lives. I'm sorry. Chase is also, they reminded me, the reigning Writer Sports champion, contrary to the official Open Book Instagram account, which said something different. I think they're telling the truth. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, Mervyn.
Chase, Writer Sports reigning champion, Rhys. Okay, we have an energetic crowd. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 6 rounds, 5 minutes each. In each round, 5 writers has got 5 minutes to write some beautiful words on page. Based on suggestions from the audience, we're going to start with a name, a location, and a genre. Okay, so get ready for that. In each round, one person is going to sit out. Stop stressing. One person is going to sit out. I'm going to chat to them a little bit, but if you also have any questions from the audience for that person who's sitting out, you can just go for it. Just put up your hand, and we will chat like that and do our best to distract the other 5 writers from writing. Okay. Oh, I need a timekeeper. Who's going to volunteer to be a timekeeper?
Me.
Hush, Qarnita. I need a timekeeper from the audience. Come, somebody. Everybody's got a cell phone on them. Okay, Jean in the front. Okay, thank you. You got your timepiece. Excellent. Okay. Who's sitting out the first round?
I will.
Okay, come sit with me.
He's a quick learner.
Come sit with me. That was quick. There's a team competition, there's an individual competition. I haven't quite worked out how that's going to work, but there are prizes. Okay, we're going to do it. Okay. Yeah, but not yet. You haven't started. Okay. Okay. So let's start with a name of a character. Who wants to give us a name? One of you. Cassandra. I love that name. Cassandra. Okay, guys, you're going to write something with Cassandra in it. Where does Cassandra find... Is Cassandra a woman, a man, non-binary? Not sure yet. Okay. Where does Cassandra find themselves? Cassandra is in Muizenberg. Can we have a genre or a start? Sorry?
Always.
Cassandra in Muizenberg with erotica. Okay, I think that's kind of enough for you guys to go. You've got 5 minutes. Everybody happy? Everybody know what they're doing? Okay, they've started already. Jean, 5 minutes. Go. Okay.
What must we do?
Thank you.
How must we really understand? You've done this before.
Figure it
I
out.
don't remember anything.
Sorry?
Now what is it 5 minutes starting already?
The 5 minutes has started already. We're now on 4 minutes and 43
How
seconds.
long do you want this to be?
As long as you like, my dear.
That's my top line. That's my line.
Okay, I've got Onke Mazibuko sitting with me, the author of the fabulous second verse. He knows how much I absolutely love this novel. It's a debut novel. It's a coming-of-age novel. We heard yesterday that it's also, in some ways, a bit of an autobiographical novel, right? But let's not talk about that. How are you feeling? How the last couple of days of Open Book been for you?
They've been amazing. For a first-time comer, it's been really great. I was just reflecting with a few people that a few years ago I went to a book festival and I had the courage to step up to an author after the panel. It was Lauren Bucas. I had enjoyed one of her books. And the advice she gave me encouragement or the confidence to go ahead and put this thing together, you know. And 4 months later, there was a finished draft, you know. So, and it was like, wow, you know. Now I'm sitting on the other end, and it's like, hey, look what's happening here, you know. So
That's very cool, yeah. And you've been incredibly generous with your audience and engaging with people. So
Thank you.
Yeah, you're giving back in that same way. You're doing some interesting work with schools, you were telling me. You want to talk a little about that?
Yeah. So I feel like I was really molded by the schools that I went to. I went to a boarding school called King School, which was in the Natal Midlands in a place called Nottingham Road. And I was there from the age of 5, spent 8 years in boarding school till I was about, 13. And then from there, my family moved back to the Eastern Cape, went to an all-boys school called Selborne College in East London. And it was very different. I mean, the primary school experience was a co-ed environment, but in many ways I felt more mature then than the 4 years I spent as a teenager in an all-boys school. And it feels like, in many ways, I spent my 20s and 30s trying to put together those two parts of my life, which felt very contrasted, very different from each other in terms of what I experienced. And I think maybe I was spoilt a lot in the school that I went to in primary school, because there was quite a crazy philosophy there. The teachers allowed us to call them by their first names. There was just a culture of equalizing everybody. You know, we weren't allowed to have tuck. You weren't allowed to bring money to school, so that the differences between families didn't become an issue at the school. So it was very utopian. So by the time I left there to go to high school, I think it was like a big shock to my system to just be faced with the dynamics of, and I got to high school in 1996. That was standard 7, grade 9. So the primary school I went to ended in grade 8, standard 6. So yeah, so it was like a big shock for me just to deal with the dynamics of what South Africa was like then, you know. They cheating here.
They're on your team. Yeah.
I didn't even know there were teams. I didn't even know there were teams. I don't think I got the rules right.
What is this synchronized nose blowing going on? They're crying. Both of them, they're crying. What's going on?
I'm not stupid.
Gene, how are we doing time-wise?
Oh no.
Left. Shit.
Conclusions.
Okay, Qarnita's getting serious there.
It's been too long.
Okay. And the work that you're doing now with schools?
Oh yeah, so I'm a psychologist and I do a lot of workshops in teacher development in schools. It started off with transformation, diversity and inclusivity, but there's also critical thinking. And then when I work with the learners themselves, there's a lot of work on leadership, mentorship. But it's weird for me to be doing teacher development because for a long time I thought high school, those were the 4 worst years of my life. But now I'm realizing how the experiences, some of which I speak about in the book, can be useful to teachers. And that's the last space I thought I would be in. But it feels fulfilling. And I've heard a lot of people talking about how the writing process can be healing. I feel like through the writing process and having that product and doing this kind of work, there is that healing for me. And it's still in its early days. I mean, the book only came out in June, and I've been doing this workshop work for about a year now. But yeah, so it's
very cool.
All coming together.
Not sure what everybody's applauding. Oh, you're applauding Gene for the time up thing. Okay. Right. We are going to start with the Queen, Margie. Share with us something about Cassandra in Muizenberg, which is erotic.
Cassandra had all her erotic secrets stashed in her handbag when she got off the train in Muizenberg. She'd been meant to go on to Cork Bay, where her props were going to be put on for her performance at the Cork Bay Gallery. But the idea of winding the latex around her body again felt impossible, so before the train could pull out of the station, she jumped out, leaving Tom to bang impotently at the window. He was shouting at her, his mouth wide open, and all those teeth. But the thick glass of the window and the southeaster silenced his words, and it was with relief that she did not hear him. Cassandra shifted the heavy bag to her other shoulder and ran down to the beach, where the surfers were coming in, the wind lashing the waves as she waded in. But when the waves reached her waist, she emptied the bag of all this equipment that was meant to make flaccid, jaded old men want her.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
And based on audience, I'm giving that a 7.
Who decides the winner and how's it decided?
The audience.
What, with the exchange rate, is it like rands or pounds or what do you want?
7 out of 10. Okay, Qarnita, you clearly want to speak. Share.
Okay, Nina.
I just got the death stare, yeah. It's a very scary death.
Okay, I am prepared to buy a drink for everyone who claps afterwards. Oh shit, they said, as they rolled in the waves at Muizenberg. It really is hard. Not as hard as I thought it would be, but just good enough to give me a good swell.
Oh my God.
It's been too long, Cassandra screamed as they styled down the face of the wave. I've really had enough of all this. I'm not built for this day-long, foot-long love.
Oh. Woo! I want to drink, yeah.
I think I need another sip. I think I need another shot. Okay. Chase, you're up.
Oh, right. An exhibitionist, Cassandra, waits for the cameras to be switched on. She likes to watch and be watched. She stands in Muizenberg Pavilion on the grassy bit, looking over at the white sand. She steps onto the white sand and unravels her pink yoga mat like an uncircumcised member. The cameras come. So does Cassandra. 3 men in uniform walk up to her. She likes a man in uniform. They tell her to get off. Cassandra, a dom, not a submissive, argues with them. That's where I ended. But basically, Cassandra was that lady at Muizenberg when the police came and told her to get off during lockdown, and she wouldn't, and so she did a pose on her yoga mat. That was Cassandra to me.
Is she here this evening?
Jason,
I'm pointing. No, she's not.
Chase understands how this works, so they clap as well to make it louder. SJ.
How long do you want this to be? Cassandra pulled the rope out of the chest. 3 feet should do, said the man in the gimp mask. Rather than pondering what this masked stranger was planning to do with the long, thick rope they were now pulling out, hand over manicured hand, they instead turned their mind to how he'd managed to pull the enormous chest through the exceptionally narrow entryway of the brightly coloured beach hut.
Pie-Pacifique.
Okay. I will say that's a beautiful dress, the man said, but that would not be true. In truth, I just want to talk to you. Although about the dress, it is absolutely true. She was bamboozled, wondering why he had such a beautiful beard, as if he needed a reason to. Not sure if it was bad poetry reciting, but if he had just made it up. She thought it would be absolutely amazing. She chose to believe he was being spontaneous, and she felt a rush of emotions as she wondered how she could reciprocate the spontaneity. She felt a tingling in a strange place like she had in Muizenberg. Spontaneous? That could be dangerous and slippery. She took a breath and decided to trust her own guards. So she slowly turned around to show him more.
That's a proper erotica. That's a real erotica.
9.5. Whoa. Gymnast.
Thank you.
Right, well done, everybody. Thank you. Next round. Who's got something they want to suggest? Let's start with an opening sentence this time. Who's got an opening sentence? Yeah.
What?
Something's hatching in the kitty litter. Everybody's having a moment as well. Okay, something's hatching in the kitty litter. I like that. Do we want a genre, a style for this, or is it just horror? Okay, that's pretty obvious. Okay. Horror and anything? I think that's about it. Who's sitting out this round?
Me.
Okay. Jean, you're on the clock. Let's go. 5 minutes.
Who's that? Oh,
Something's hatching in the kitty litter.
So is that the first sentence?
That's the first sentence.
Is it-
See, it's easy. The first sentence has already been written for you.
But are we carrying on from where we...
No, this is completely different. Okay. Understand, there's no erotica, there's no Cassandra, there's no Musenberg. It's something happened in the kitty litter, and it's horror. I mean, how difficult can this be?
oh God, this is awful.
The moaning, you know. I mean, the work we do to promote these writers, give them a platform, embarrass them, humiliate them, and then they moan. Please. Please what?
Don't.
Thank you again. Thank you again for everything you've brought to the festival the last few days. Really, it's been amazing to have you here. And also, that's a really, really cool jacket.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very, very impressed. What were you doing this morning? You had like a Zoom thing going on. What was that?
Oh, yes. So I was at 2 festivals at the same time.
Open book's not important, for this man.
Well,
okay,
it's
so,
open. So I was actually supposed to be in Harwich last weekend, and then because of the comrades, they changed their dates. They coincided with this one, and they still insisted that they wanted to hear a little bit about the book, so they organized the Zoom session instead.
Okay, that's cool. How did it go? Were there different people you were like in conversation with, or was somebody interviewing you?
No, it was a short talk
Okay.
about the book and then a few questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Went well.
Went well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a question I couldn't answer, but we all do, right?
Okay. Witnessing is it's a very special book, and it charts, a large part of your life. Sometimes when a lot of the time people write a book like that, and that is it. That is their only book. That is the story they have to tell. I got an idea from chatting to you that this is not the end of the line in terms of writing, and that you are thinking about writing some more.
Yes, I am. And in fact, the publisher did ask me if we can finalize the contract at least by the end of this month.
That tells you how well this book's been doing. Publishers like going, come we want more.
But I'm pushing back a little bit. There's a lot of changes in my life, and my wife, whom some of you met, and my baby, we just moved to Bloemfontein, and we are adjusting. So I want to push a little more, but there will be another book.
Okay. And some sense of the content of that, and what you're going to be writing about?
The book, this current book, ends really when I get to South Africa. There's very little in the book about my life in South Africa, other than when I was a student. And so I will pick up on that, but I would not like it to be the classic against all odds kind of story. As tempting as it is, I would like it to be an exploration of my experiences of South Africa and Africa, and my experience of South Africa outside of South Africa when I go to other African countries, and that's in the context of the xenophobic, and in that, because I only go to other African countries for business, so I'm going to share some of my own lived life experiences as a continuation of this book. So,
I cannot put myself in your shoes, and I haven't walked anything like your journey, but I would imagine this must be a difficult and possibly scary time to be a non-South African in South Africa right now.
It is actually, it's difficult, and I have to say the South African society is layered, and there, I think there are spheres of the South African society you get to and you don't overtly feel the xenophobia or the resistance. And I'm privileged. I think I keep reflecting on how privileged I actually am, because the non-South Africans who are competing with South Africans with limited resources in townships, and they are really having a hard time. And then my own lived reality is dealing with home affairs. It's extremely difficult, and I actually sense the xenophobia from institutions rather than individuals. Yeah,
there's a very important class element to
Yes,
xenophobia, which is what you pointed to.
Yes.
I think that's very, very, very good. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Do the words "time's up" mean anything to you? Okay. Who are we going to start with this time? SJ.
Sure.
Something's hatching in the kitty litter.
Something is hatching in the kitty litter. Scratching. I grip the handle of the knife even tighter, ensuring proper purchase. If I have to, I'll stab or slice. Scratching stops. Whatever it is knows I'm also there. A foul stench, not unfamiliar to the kitty litter tray, but worse than I imagine is possible than to have been emitted from the bowels of Mervyn, my affectionate ginger tabby. The phone rings. I gingerly reach out to the handset and click the green icon. I know what you did last Open Book Festival, says Rhys.
We worked on that together.
I do hold grudges. Yeah?
Love you.
Love you too. But you're still losing. Chase.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
Something is hatching in the kitty litter. It shakes and trembles. Cassandra? I ask. My heart sitting in my chest. Mervyn said Cassandra shouldn't be here. But she's with me anyway. Go closer and have a look, Cassandra says. I can't, I say. I don't run towards strange noises and danger, for I am not white. I feel a hand shove me between my shoulder blades so hard my neck whoops back, and I stumble and I put my foot into the kitty litter. Mervyn comes and hears my screams. I say, Mervyn, help me. He asks, what are you doing in the kitty litter? I say, Cassandra pushed me. He says, Cassandra who? There's no one else here. Cassandra never existed.
Minus 12.
It's not you, it's the other Mervyn. It's a Mervyn with an eye.
That is such a great
It's Mervyn with an eye.
That's my favorite.
Oh, this is so nerve-wracking.
I can just read yours. I can just read yours.
Let me go.
Yeah, you go.
Can I take her? Yeah, I'll take her turn. Why not?
You have to read, though, still.
Can I read yours?
No. Sorry, Onke.
Okay, here we go. It was a dark and stormy night. No, I'm kidding. All right, something's hatching in the kitty litter, said Paul to Thabo. No, don't say that, Thabo said. You know what will happen. You don't really believe that, do you? Something's hatching in the kitty litter. Stop it, Thabo said. That's only twice. Relax. But if I say it a third time, stop, Thabo said. Thabo got out of the bed. Remember what happened to Lerato and them? No. What happened, Paul asked. I don't want to play this game anymore. You always like this.
Me also.
Paul got up out of the bed and stood in front of Thabo. Okay, I'm sorry. I love you. Forgive me? Of course. They kissed. Thabo walked into the bathroom where Bella the cat was squatting over the kitty litter. Hey, Paul, guess what? What? Something's hatching in the kitty litter.
Margie.
Well, I have to say this made me nervous to get a kitty story, because the very first death threat I had was from my Claire Hart novels, where I had a cat called Fritz. Claire, the detective, has a cat called Fritz, and some lady, which I think might be you, wrote to me and she said, Margie, if anything happens to the cat, something will happen to you. Anyway.
Oh my God.
The truth was that in that novel I had killed the cat because it's always a tearjerker to have a dead animal.
Oh.
And so I killed the cat, and then I was so nervous about this woman that I unkilled the cat in the book. But something is hatching in the kitty litter, which can't be possible because I killed the cat. I took her in my arms, cradled her, and then when she purred with trust, I slit her throat. The knife I brought with me to kill her master gleamed in the streetlights, splashing through the open lounge windows. She breathed her last, and as I slit open her stomach, my blood fizzing in response. A revenge, can't read that bit. It should have been his throat that parted like a pair of red lips. Should have been his guts spilling on the floor. But he was late, so the cat, Fritz, it said on her name tag, paid the price. I set the little corpse down in the litter tray on the kitchen floor when there was a rustle of a coat, keys in the door at the front door. I crouched in the shadow. My knife went into his back as he bent down to look at the blood flowering in the white kitty litter. Tears that he had never shed for me, wetting his eyes. I have to confess, his name is Mervyn, but with an I.
See, I wrote your name out first and then realized I didn't have enough space. What are we doing there? 8? 9?
Thank you.
9, 8, 9.
Listen to Helen. She killed a cat.
Naught.
But the man was late.
Instead of the man.
Is that?
She followed the brief. It's supposed to be horror.
I did not write that first.
Qarnita.
Can't I just eat mine? Think I'd like a penalty.
Okay, you can, yeah, go for it. You can eat it.
Slowly.
Go.
Oh, God, it's awful. Something's hatching in the kitty litter, Mervyn said. His nails already scratching against the plastic tub. Do you think it's something left over from last time? She asked. I think I've got everything out, but maybe I didn't. She picked a black seed out from between her teeth with a long fingernail, examined it closely. You did chop it up really small. She squeezed the grains between her fingertips and lifted it to her nose to smell. It's fresh, Mervyn said, not yesterday's blood.
Come on, Pope, points for your name.
Are you enjoying being the star of your own show, Mervyn?
Hey,
You can give the points to me.
that's
Qarnita.
yeah, that's everybody. Yes, everybody's red. I'm very confused. Oh, you were talking to me. That's what. Right, next round. Give us a theme. Somebody give us a theme. Or
What?
poetry. As in they have to write a poem.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Okay. Anything specific about? Give us a subject for the poem.
Marx.
What?
Marx.
Marx.
Marx. M-O-S-S.
Oh, Moss.
Mars.
Physics.
Moss.
Like,
M-O-S.
like weight.
The
Like
green
we
stuff.
must do this.
Like the green.
Must we do this?
Moss,
Moss.
we must do this. Because you know, Moss, I don't want to.
Must have.
Okay, what's to say?
Moss. Fuck.
Okay. Interpret it as you like. It's. Think of it as interpretive dance on the page.
Okay, I'm coming to sit there.
Okay.
Is it mass or moss?
Moss. Like moss, the little plant. You know, like, I think.
Okay.
That's not still a secret, eh?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Not any fucking more, it isn't.
Okay,
Right.
sorry.
Okay.
Has the time started? The time has started. Okay, go. You got 5 minutes to write a poem. How have you found people responding to the new book? And what has surprised you about that? And was it, to what extent were you nervous about putting this, well, of course you were nervous about putting this out into the world because it's an incredibly, incredibly personal book and revealing, and you made yourself very vulnerable.
Yeah.
What has surprised you about the reaction, if anything?
My reaction has surprised me
Okay.
in that it's like the difficult second album, right? And it took 5 years to birth this thing. And I thought I'd be more, this makes me sound so ungrateful, which I'm not, but I thought I'd be more invested in how it's doing, right? Because Killing Caroline did so well, and so you kind of go, oh, I hope everyone buys it. And then I have to say that when I handed it in, the feat of doing the thing, and I don't just mean that the writing of the book, but the surviving of what happened in the book, was so great that it was, I kind of said to Melinda when I handed it in, I don't really care if it only sells 2 copies. And she went, well, I fucking do. And which is fair enough. But I think
Melinda being a publisher.
my publisher. And it seems to be doing really well, which is like just such an added bonus to it all. But I was just saying to Qarnita, I'm prouder of, eyes down, I'm prouder of Mad Bad Love than I am of Killing Caroline.
Because you had to dig deeper?
Because it's better written.
Okay. I mean, yes.
And that's not to say that
Killing
Killing Caroline
Caroline
is
is
badly
yeah,
written. It's
yeah.
well written,
I
but
actually disagree.
Oh,
Yeah, not.
okay.
Okay, this could come out wrong. I think Killing Caroline was beautifully written. I think Mad Bad Love is everybody's equal, and that for me is extremely high praise. And we still sell Killing Caroline because it is so well written. In addition to it being a really important story.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you're dissing Kate
No,
a bit.
maybe in that I just, there's something really beautiful that happens when you do a second book and you go, oh, I remember this. And then you also go, oh, and it wasn't a fluke, I can write. And to feel comfortable in the voice that's developed. Killing Caroline, yes, I'd written for a really long time. I'd written my whole life. I'd never written a book before. I didn't know I was capable of doing that. And so Mad Bad Love was it was kind of like, oh, it was like putting on like an old comfy coat and going, oh, I remember this and I really like it. And this is my voice. Killing Caroline was a bit of an experiment. It was like, I'm writing words, and I don't really know if this is... And now I found like I've really found my writing voice, which is such a lovely thing. Even if I never write another book again, not going to happen, but even if I didn't, that's SJ on the page.
I love the title. Did you have that title?
No, I
through
didn't.
The book? It
No,
came quite
I
late
didn't.
in
The original title, and I'm so embarrassed by it because it was so trite and awful. Before it was going to be the book it was going to be, God, Fine, F-I-N-E, which turns up as a chapter title in the book, which isn't trite, but as a title it would have been awful. F-I-N-E being fucked up, insecure, neurotic and emotional. Welcome. Which is still true, but it just would have been rubbish. And I knew Melinda didn't like it, and I didn't really like it either. And then as I was writing, I think it's in the second chapter, and I talk about how my meeting of Enver, and I write a line, and I wrote, mad, bad love. And I went, oh, God. And I picked up the phone and said to Mel, mad, bad love. And she went, again, fucking love it. And that was that. And there we had Mad, Bad Love. And I love the title.
I do too. It is absolutely, it's a brilliant title. And an absolutely remarkable book. Was there anything when you were writing where you felt like, this is too much, I can't put this in? Because it doesn't read that way.
No.
It reads like you were just digging and digging and digging.
There's
and putting
parts,
it all out there.
and there was. And there are two specific incidences in that book. One of, I won't give them both away, but one of them when the father of my daughter, we've just brought her home from the hospital. She's 3 days old. And I realised that he's stolen the first thing I ever bought for her, which is this little baby grow. I realised he's stolen it to go and sell on Wynberg train station to buy heroin. This wasn't that long ago, but it was long enough ago that, it doesn't plague me every day. That was hectic.
Yeah.
And also hard for Enver, right? Because for him, that was a long time ago. And to have that, but no, there's nothing in there I regret putting in, and there's nothing I regret leaving out.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mine is shit, I want to go first.
Sorry?
Mine is shit, I want to go first.
No, it's not shit.
Okay.
Okay. There once was a girl called Moss who really didn't enjoy a good floss. But one day she said, just as she got out of bed, this poetry thing is so fucking hard, made me cross.
Qarnita, you are the boss. Woo! Big boy!
Okay.
Okay.
Who's going? Pie-Pacifique.
Okay. Moss.
Well done.
10 out of 10. I'm sweating.
She stopped and blinked once, deciding it deserved another glance. Moss, fragile, small, and never growing tall. What if it had a mind? Would it be able to rewind? Wonder about itself, and if it has worth? Moss, what would it say? Well, I will surely stay to hear of its strife, or wait, maybe more about its life.
That was brilliant.
This is fun.
Okay. The fairies live in the moss. They bounce on tiny feet. There's nothing I've given without a cost. I have to learn the meaning of defeat. With see-through wings they fly. There's nothing that can hold them down. I turn green as time goes by. I really wish I could feel the ground, covered by a carpet just for them. They are so harmless. It doesn't have a stem, this moss. It grows, doesn't stop, just flows.
Well, I have.
Always loved poetry.
God, I was poet laureate of the book lounge once. Many years ago.
Long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah, I wrote some
wrote-
terrible sonnet for your first birthday, and then I got free coffee every day for a year.
On condition that you didn't write any more poetry.
Yes, exactly. So I've gone to blank verse, but I just want to, so I can't see who gave that word. It gave me the most unbelievable pang of homesickness, and I haven't written a funny poem. You just got this memory, and I think this is this kind of thing with writing and words, is this little fissure suddenly opens up. So thank you. Moss, so green, so humble, so fine. If you look at it up close, which my daughters did when we still lived here, and climbed the mountain whose great grey granite skirts had our backs. Up the path they would run, young enough to know they were lions, not pretending. Until they reached the outcrop they called Pride Rock, they would scramble up, stopping my heart with my fear of them falling, but they never did. They would lie down flat on their tender tummies and peer into the crevice where moss always grew, no matter the scouring wind and the summer sun that blonded their hair then and mine. And I hear them, I love them for it. How brave they are, and that the miracle of that stretch of soft green transfixed them, drew them up the steep path, and let us rest before we set off, heading back home, complete.
Serious poetry time, folks. I'm surprised. Chase.
Right. These challenges make us grow, just like moss. We suffer for using Mervyn's name. Points, loss. Writers playing sports, haha, brain floss. Our team is gonna win. SJ, Qarnita, Onke, don't be cross. Just like Diana Ross, I'm gonna tell you who's the boss. Oh! This is not a mic drop, this is a paper toss.
I think we're done. That was everybody, right? Yes, everybody is. Okay.
It's your turn.
Qarnita read first.
Yes, everybody.
I went first.
Yeah,
Dude, I did it.
yeah. Okay, next. Right. Let's go back to another name. I want a name. Who's got a name for us?
Lefikile.
Lefikile?
Letikile.
Letikile. Lefi.
Lefikile.
Okay. Who's sitting out?
Who's saying
Who hasn't sat out?
Me.
Okay.
Please.
Again. Stop.
Happy to be here.
Lovely to see you. Okay. Location. Tangiers.
Tangiers.
Oh God, I'm
Okay.
so glad.
Where do Tangiers is?
Morocco.
It's in Tangier land.
Tangiers, what is it?
Morocco. It's the border with Gibraltar.
And let's have one fruit, which needs to be incorporated in this. Banana. That was banana. We've got banana. Banana was said with feeling. Okay.
No
let's have
banana.
Okay.
We've had kitty litter and moss, no bananas.
Just in case.
Is it a banana?
I don't know.
That's enough. Let's go. While you were looking at me, start right.
What are we doing?
What was the fruit?
We just have Lefikile, Moroccan bananas. Just
Yeah, that's it.
No genre?
No genre. Okay. Do you want a genre?
No.
Genre. It's a genre.
Genre.
No
Genre.
Genre.
It's a genre.
you're free to express yourself however you like. Okay, Jean, time? Excellent. Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Great, now that I'm here.
The friendship series, the being series,
Yes.
as you call them, friendship series as I call them. So you did this thing. Okay, two-part questions. The first question is, if I remember correctly, okay, for those, if there's anybody who hasn't read them, you really should. They're absolutely outstanding, and they centered on a group of 4 close friends.
It's better than my poetry.
It's better. It's definitely better than Qarnita's poetry, and your poetry is really good. I'm really impressed. So that's high praise. Anyway, there's like a WhatsApp group, and each book has one of the 4 close friends as the main protagonist, and there's a particular sort of frame to what that person is dealing with, and it's about the different issues in each book, and it's also about friendship and how they get through this, and it's a really good series. If I remember correctly, when you wrote Being Carrie, you weren't thinking about actually writing the others in the series. It was just like a kind of a standalone. So I just wanted sort of you to talk a little bit about that firstly, and then secondly, which is kind of related, is that once the second book came out, it was kind of fairly obvious where you were going, and there would be a third and a fourth, and that would be like an end point. But in the 4th book, you bring Shireen into the group, and was that about creating the space for being Shireen, for adding a 5th one to the series? And you're going to do that with every book, just bring one other person in so you can continue forever.
Well, when I started with Being Carrie, I thought it was a standalone book. So there was a very strong character, but she had very strong friends. So when I was done with it, those friends weren't done with me, and so they still had a story, and it developed. There was no plan to it. So each character came with their own story, and I had to write it. And Shireen is a bit like that, because she's this Carrie's sister-in-law, and she is a practicing Muslim woman whose husband takes a second wife in the first book. But I loved her so much that I couldn't let her go. And also, I think she somehow spoke to readers also, because they kept saying to me, really like Shireen, and she just grew. And I didn't have a thought for a book for her. I still don't have a thought for a book for her. But her story is growing in the background. So maybe one day there will be a Shireen, but I don't know yet. I feel like she's out there still living her life, and maybe one day it'll come.
Okay.
But she's just a character that grew on me. And she's become sort of an alternate voice, I think, that the books needed.
Is there something else that you are actually working on at the moment, if I'm allowed to
I
ask?
am working on something. It's going very slowly. My brain feels a little bit tired from all these friendship books. But what I'm working on now, it feels like something that I can't let go of. So I hope that it will develop into something.
Okay.
But I don't know yet.
Cool. Chasing Marion, so you wrote this with 3 other writers,
Yes.
Amy Heinrich, Gail Schimmel, and Pamela Powers. Just that process of writing kind of collaboratively, I mean, this was written under lockdown. It wasn't like they were hanging out together, having lunch, and also, I mean, the fact that the other 3 are in Joburg, Qarnita's in Cape Town.
Yeah, it was the process for me was very different, because I like to plan and I'm quite careful. I think quite a lot about what I write before I write it. And Chasing Marion wasn't something that we anticipated would be a book. It was a project to keep us sane. We were disappointed because we weren't going to meet Marion Keys, and of course it was the lockdown, and everybody was doing homeschooling and just all of that, I mean, I don't have to explain what lockdown is like. So this one was like a wild ride. Every week somebody different had to write a chapter. You didn't know what was coming for you. You didn't know what the others had planned for you. So there was a lot of revenge writing, and it was very free. You just wrote whatever bullshit was in your head, and there was it was creativity at its best, because we really were trying to get out of ourselves. So it was complete escapism for all of us. And somehow it worked. I mean, kept all the depression at bay. It was, so for that, it's a magical book for the time that was written in, for friends. I mean, we knew each other, but we didn't really know each other that well to write a book together. But it was a good experience. I don't know.
Chasing Marion, a book which features whatever bullshit was in 4 different writers' heads. You heard it here first. Yeah, that's a great cover shot. Nice work. Yeah, you can market your own.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Okay.
like my writer sports.
Okay, thank you, Qarnita.
Been busy here?
Who's going to start? See, somebody's still writing.
Me.
You're going to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'm still writing. Oh, I so managed to finish the piece with
You're
Tangier
correcting your
and Tangier.
punctuation there.
Tangiers. The streets twist and turn, and you get lost, thinking you are heading back to your hotel, but there you are, back at the store where the bananas are stacked, rude, fat, yellow fingers heaped up on top of each other, and no price marked, your worst, as you hate haggling, hate it. It makes your skin crawl, having to work out how much you can get away with paying, or how little. And you're so hot now, the sun following you, mean-eyed and vindictive. The something heat. The heat turning your neck red and the flush ugly on your cheeks. You're too old now to pull off being lost and 40 degrees and menopause and still looking okay in your linen that has crumpled into feet, not the way the movie stars, whose names you can't remember, did in Casablanca, where you had promised to meet Lefikile, but you've lost your nerve, and so it's this endlessly returning pile of bananas in Tangiers instead.
Oh, wonderful.
Somebody from this side. Okay.
Man, don't judge me on this.
Eat it, eat it.
Lefikile and a banana walk into a bar. Everyone goes quiet and stares at them. I don't think we should be here, Lefikile says. No, the banana says. I will not be told what I can and cannot do. They must accept us for what we are. They walk towards the bar, people around them peeling away. Lefikile put his arm around the banana. They held their heads high until they got to the bar. Barman, Lefikile said, a daiquiri for my banana friend. What kind? Asked the barman. A strawberry. No, I don't do those anymore, said the banana. Just give me some water and easy on the ice. Lefikile watched the barman prepare the drink. Everyone watched the spectacle. Nobody said a thing. The barman brought the drink. Thank you, said Lefikile. By the way, where the hell is Tangier?
Yep. Tangier. Lefikile often wondered how long it would take her to learn French. She was more hopeful for her little children and somehow grateful they were still too young to understand why this was a third country they were going to live in. She liked that they enjoyed the bananas of that country. But she quickly came back to the seriousness of the moment. That was tough, she said. Quoi? The therapist asked. Then he remembered she only speaks English. He flustered a bit, but asked again, this time in English. What is it that was tough? She paused, not blinking, as if recalling the totality of the memories of South Africa. Then, with her eyes slowly getting wet and red, she let it out. Living in South Africa was fucking hard. Silence. She quickly put her hands on her mouth and he knew why. It was the foul word.
Yeah. Don't peel it, says Lefekile. No problem, ma'am. That's why Lefekile loved coming to Tangiers, her favourite restaurant. They never questioned her quirky habits. She bit into the banana, not even flinching at the taste of the bitter skin on her tongue. While she waited for this Cassandra person to arrive, she reached into her bag and pulled out her copy of Mad Bad Love, thinking how lucky she was to have got the last copy from the book lounge, considering how it had been flying off the shelves since Sara-Jayne Makwala King's Booker Prize win. A belly dancer dressed in a series of precariously placed moss green scarves shook her hips and navel at an uncomfortable-looking man on the next table. He was wearing a lanyard around his neck. She squinted. She could briefly make out his name. It was Mervyn.
It's always
Didn't see that coming at all. We're out of time, but I have a solution coming up. Jace.
Yes, I'll be quick. It's a short story. Lefekile wants bananas. He's been looking for them for the past 2 years. He's watched videos during lockdown of people making banana bread, but he can't find the fruit anywhere in the city of Tangiers. I hope it's a city.
It's a concept. It's a way of life.
This banana is a metaphor in the story of a misfit looking to find other queers. It's a metaphor! It's a metaphor!
Why have we got two open?
Is it over?
So we're completely out of time. Thanks for coming, guys. Just, so okay, into the mic. My timekeeping has left something to be desired. I mean, my time planning or something. Okay. So what we are going to do, we have some prizes. We have the big prize, of course. We have a little 6 bags to just as a token of thanks to give to our wonderful writers. The winning team, there's 2 things in there. The losing team, there's 1. Life's shit. So what we're going to do is, instead of adding up the scores,
Paper toss!
And you are now going to make some noise for each of the writers, and we will decide how many points they get for their overall performance this evening. So think a little bit about what you're going to do with your hands over the next few minutes, how much noise you're going to make, not just with your hands. Okay.
Can't we just go team table by table? Because they're going to get clapped for tea.
No, we can't. But thank you. Thank you for that wonderful suggestion. Let's start with Margie. Give it up for Margie. How many points is that? I don't know.
It's a lot.
We're just going to start with the baseline. This is 7. Okay. 77.
I don't want 7.
77.
I don't want 7.
Okay. Onke.
Gotta be in the 90s.
Somewhere in the 90s.
Gotta be in the 90s,
Okay.
yeah.
Number 2 on his team. Okay. 87. Chase.
Thank you.
It's a metaphor.
46. Let's do it.
What about the baby?
What about the baby?
The baby
Extra
left.
votes. Action.
There was
her
a baby,
baby.
but the baby left.
It's a secret, didn't you hear? Trish. Pie-Pacifique. Not as loud as Chase, but it went on longer. So, I'm confused, but I'm going to do that as a 96 as well. So that's 192. That's 269. Okay, so okay, so Qarnita needs to get 106.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Is this how you do your books, Merv?
what books?
Your tax man books.
Okay, so for the runners-up, thank you very much. And the individual winner gets to take home the Open Book Festival Writers Sports 2022.
The replacement.
What's this thing called? Trophy. Yes?
The replacement.
Okay, there's music playing. They're really trying to get rid of me now. Seriously, everybody, thank you so much for sticking it out today. Thank you to everybody, to this audience and all the other audiences who have been here over the last 3 days, who have made this festival what it has been, even part of making this festival what it has been over the last 3 days. And on behalf of everybody involved in organizing it, these 6 fantastic, good sports, wonderful writers on stage, and all the other writers who have given so much, who have shared so much over the last 3 days to make this a set of fabulous experiences. Thank you very much to you. Thank you.